right, well, hello there. It's been quite a while since we've been able to get everybody together. Of course, we had a very successful spring fling event that was just recently held in Galat. And since that time, there's been kind of a whole lot of speculation, a whole lot of questions, a whole lot of wondering what's next in the world of spring fling. So we wanted to get everybody together here today, have a little bit of a conversation, a little bit of a phone call, so to speak, here virtually with Kyle Seipel being in California, Peter Biondo being in New York, and myself sitting here in Las Vegas, and hopefully take a moment and answer some of the questions that all of the racers have for those that have been very loyal to the spring and fall fling brand throughout the past few years. We certainly wanted to make sure that we gave everybody an opportunity to find out firsthand what does the future hold. Again, as we mentioned, joined here today by Kyle Seipel in California. Kyle, we'll start with you. Hey, how you doing? Good to see you here.
Doing great, Nate. Really excited to talk to our spring fling racers, and really excited also to give out the breaking news for our 2020 schedule for the remainder of the year.
Well, great. Glad to have you here. Glad to see that you're here. And of course, we cannot be talking about spring and fall fling without your partner in crime, your best friend, your buddy, Peter Biondo, joining us from New York as well. Peter, good evening. How are you?
Hey guys, good to be here, and looking forward to releasing this, getting this information out there. I know the races have been waiting both on the East and West Coast a long time. A lot of questions before this whole pandemic, through this whole pandemic. You think you have a schedule, you think it's all set, it changes again. Well, here's some good news.
Yeah, certainly. And that really has been one of the biggest challenges throughout 2020, not just for you guys, but for every racetrack, for every promoter, for everybody that's in the entertainment industry in general. It's been a big challenge. Nobody really can set anything in stone. It's difficult to get that information out there. But today, that's kind of what we're going to get together here and talk about a little bit. Again, you guys did a lot of work to get that first spring fling event off the ground and in the books at Galat. It was a spectacular event. Everybody that was there, we were certainly pleased that we had the opportunity to be there, and it really satisfied a certain portion of that desire to go out and go racing, but it also ignited a fire to be able to go out and do more racing, because that's what we all love to do. And so the big question was, coming into that race, we had to reschedule the Spring Fling Million, which is kind of the biggest race of the year for the Fling brand. It's become something that the racers across the country look forward to. We had to find a new date for that, and that's been challenging given what's happening here on the West Coast. And with that being a West Coast event, Kyle, I think I would turn to you really to kind of address that first, because, you know, again, we've talked about this challenge with COVID and hot spots around the country. California is one of those. You've had your own challenges just there in Sonoma, but being that it was in Vegas, that produced some challenges for not only you guys as promoters, but for the track here in Vegas as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, as most of the racers know, LVMS is a huge complex, and they have things going on throughout the year. And with this whole pandemic, they've had to make a lot of schedule changes, and there's still a lot of pending changes. The biggest concert in the whole West Coast, the EGC, is waiting to get confirmation here in the next month or so if they're going to have their event. NASCAR, which is probably LVMS's second biggest venue of the year, they're still contemplating what their dates are for the end of the year. So we were kind of left in limbo, so to speak, but we've been working with LVMS real close. Jeff Foster and the gang there. We're very fortunate to work with some great partners. When I say partners, it's tracks, it's the sponsors, it's the racers for that matter. So we kind of had to move some shells around here. We had a great conversation with Jeff Foster not too long ago. We said, Jeff, we would love to have our event, the $1 million event in Vegas again. But given the set of circumstances, we all came to a conclusion. Listen, let's take the biggest fling event we have, and let's take this straight to Bristol Dragway in 2020. We're going to utilize the original fall fling date, September 28th through October 3, which then made us think, well, what are we going to do with the fall fling? So we talked to Dana Strickland over there at Galat Motorsports Park. She said, listen, you guys want to have another event at our facility? We'd love to have you. So we talked to her. We talked once again to Jeff Foster. We talked to Bristol. And we decided to put that, the fall fling, move it from Bristol to Galat the weekend before the event we have in Bristol. So we're going to have two events back to back.
Wow. So 2 weeks in a row, back-to-back events. The rescheduled fall fling will happen at Galat, and the relocated $1 million race will happen at Bristol. Peter, I'm sure that there were a lot of challenges in doing that. And I think one of the things that, I've said this to you guys before, the very first race that I did with you guys in Bristol, what hooked me, me, not a racer, but me on the fling events was every decision that you guys make always ends with you two asking each other if you think the racers are going to like that. So again, I pose that to you with moving this. I'm sure the racers are going to love that, because the two events that everybody's been waiting on hearing what's going to happen, we now know that we've got now a date for the fall fling in Galat, and we've got a date for the million in Bristol. That's got to be great news for you guys.
Yeah, I mean, and it was extremely tough because we didn't really want to put it out there as a poll to racers because we didn't want rumors to start if it wasn't going to happen. So Kyle and I had to really dig deep. We went in circles a few times, and one of the reasons I went out to Sonoma was to be by his side for his Lucas Oil NHRA race, and I enjoyed that. The other reason was to hash this out. So yeah, and we're really lucky in a sense, Nate, that and guys, that one, it's an outdoor sport, pretty much just crew, not spectators. So we should all feel lucky that we're able to do what we did in at Galat, So, but we're also really lucky that we have great partner tracks. And the way Kyle explained how this all went down, it was pretty it was very accurate. And Kyle and I made a decision. We went back and forth with Jeff, and he said probably by mid-August I should be able to give you a date. And I'm working really hard on it. And God bless them, they are working hard. They have so many chips to shuffle over there, and there's a lot of they have their work cut out for them. But they're getting closer. But once he said August 15th, we said, Jeff, we have to give our biggest event. We need to give our racers enough time to travel. And I don't think August 15th, enough time to schedule, I should say, and vacation. And he said, I totally get it. I understand. So then, as Kyle said, we're lucky to have partner tracks with LVMS, Bristol, and Galat. We went in circles with all three of them and just tried to see what we should do with the fall fling and what else we should do. So we called Jeff again. We say, yeah, we're gonna move the fall fling. And then I said, you think races out there will be okay with that? Like, and we kind of just got silent on the phone. And he said, and I have to give credit to Jeff, he said, I think you guys should think about putting a race on, because I think you're going to have an opportunity out here, just so we don't leave the West Coast races hanging. And usually I don't take to strong advice that's that, pertinent to my business from somebody that quickly, but a light bulb went off. I said, he's absolutely right. Let's do it. So I got to give credit to Jeff and the LVMS staff for really working with us. And we're going to put on a fall fling. We're moving parts, but races are going to be happy.
Well, that's again really exciting in the fact that, like what you had said, the two races that are normally scheduled on your program, the fall fling and the million, had to be shuffled around. I mean, we even had to shuffle the Galat race in order to get that in, but that's already been handled. So the outstanding items out there were shuffled a million. That's going to be handled by relocating it to Bristol. Again, as you mentioned, same format, same purses. That's going to run that way. And again, I think one of the key things to mention here is it also does make a slight change to Bristol in the fact that previously that Bristol event was capped entries. And now with it being the million format, that capped entry goes away for Bristol, correct?
That is correct. The million, the Bristol Spring Fling Million is a race that has a progressive purse. So unlike our other events where the purse is set, the racers can actually benefit the more cars that show up. So like Kyle and I said, we're going to take the throttle stop off. We're going to open the gates up, and I think we're going to have a lot of races. It could be our biggest one yet.
All right, that is definitely going to be cool. And then
Hey, Nate.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to go out on a limb here and not say it could be the biggest fling. It's going to be the biggest fling. I can't tell you how many racers on the East Coast have wanted $1 million race on the East Coast. It can't happen at a better track than Bristol. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say it will be the biggest fling we've ever had.
All right. I will believe you on that, especially with as hooked on percentages as you are. I will believe you.
Absolutely.
So we go ahead, we take the cap off Bristol. That becomes the $1 million this year. And then the fall fling moves to Galat, same capped entry type format. So that way, again, the racer experience there maintains the way that it has over the past several years, and that it has over the past several years at Bristol. Again, that very comfortable, very enjoyable race that everybody has become accustomed to. And again, I think that's big news. So we've got a relocated $1 million. That way we take care of that. We've got a rescheduled fall fling and a relocated fall fling to Galat. But Peter, you and Kyle kind of hinted at something else in there about, and it really wasn't a hint. It was kind of a flat out, hey, what about the West Coast racers? You need to put together a race for that. What are we kind of looking at there?
Well, we're looking at so all weekend I was working on that, and Kyle and I wanted to put on something big enough to get people excited. So we're gonna do it's gonna be 10,000 to win. We're not sure if we're gonna do it Wednesday to Saturday or Thursday to Sunday yet, but let's assume it's Thursday to Sunday. It's gonna be 10,000 to win Friday and Sunday. It's gonna be 50,000 to win on Saturday, and we're gonna have the big news of it's gonna be $100,000 64 car shootout, $100,000 to the winner.
Yep. So 6 rounds of competition, no buybacks, 100 grand. Let's roll.
That is cool. That is big, and again, so a couple of tens, a 50 grander, and then $100,000 shootout race is what we're looking at, as you're saying, for the Las Vegas quote unquote replacement for the relocated $1 million, or at least for this year, something to keep the West Coast racers involved, and something that, again, I'll reinforce it. You guys are always thinking about, how do you take care of your customer? How do you take care of your racer? And, you don't want the West Coasters to be left out this year. And so even though the other 2 races won't work out, there is going to be something out there for them.
Yep. And, another challenge with this is, Nate, is trying to find a date that's not on top of another big buck bracket race, because now everything just gets squeezed. So in all fairness to Randy Falk and his $1 million race, we took that in mind. We kept that in mind because the dates that Jeff looks like we're going to fall into could end up being right either on that date or around that date. And we didn't feel it was, I don't know what the right word is. We didn't feel it was a good move, or
so it wasn't exactly advantageous.
Yeah, to either party, for us to
Yeah.
put on $1 million, Spring Fling $1 million on the same weekend, or possibly right at where he's doing his, even though it's on different parts of the country. I just didn't feel right about that. So we're spaced out from him date wise, at least a couple of weeks. Hopefully the East Coast racers will show up big on, I know we're all chomping at the bit. I know they'll show up big at most of these races that are going to happen in the fall. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, and I think it's really good of you guys to take that into consideration, because, again, all of the venues, all of the promoters, everybody we're all in the same boat. We're all impacted by the pandemic. We're all impacted by closures. We're all impacted by reopenings, and to have that respect for your fellow promoter and maintaining those dates to make sure that, hey, look, the racer wants to be able to attend it all. We're going to make sure that they can, to the best of our ability.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be a really interesting fall, a really fun, action-packed fall. Not just with our races, there's a lot of big races, and with the tracks being closed for part of the year, everyone's chomping at the bit. So I'm really looking forward to it, both as a promoter and a racer.
All right, guys. Well, we've got a lot happening. We've got some rescheduled dates, which is going to be exciting for all of the racers. Folks can now start planning their vacation time, their travel. Everybody can start looking forward to, again, back-to-back, Galat one week and Bristol the next for the relocated Fall Fling and what will be, as Kyle said, the biggest $1 million race that the Fling has ever put on. So that's really exciting news. Kyle, turn it back over to you. Wrap this up a little bit here. What are your thoughts on this closing up?
First and foremost, I'm really excited. Once again, I want to thank all of our partners, track-wise, sponsor-wise. Really made it real seamless. As much as it could be. We've been in limbo for a long time. Racers asking us what the schedule was. We're really excited to get it out there. So, just to reiterate, the Fall Fling is going to be at Galat September 22 through 26. Pre-entries opens up in less than 2 weeks, August 11th at noon Eastern. We're going to do pre-entries, bracketraces.com. First 400 people to pre-enter will be able to get into that event. The following weekend, September 28th through October 3, there's no pre-entries required. Pay at the gate. There's no cap at all. Like Peter said, it's a progressive purse out for the $1 million model. It just seems like a natural not to have a cap on that to try to get as much prize money for the racers as possible. So, and then lastly, all my friends of the West Coast, we should have a date. We're hoping within the next 3 to 4 weeks. Should be sometime in mid to late October, it looks like. But we're looking forward to that. It's been a real trying time, but I'm super stoked.
Excellent. We are all too. And Peter, again, kind of looking back at you, some closing thoughts here for this. Again, everybody's excited. I'm sure you are as well.
Yeah, it's everything's relative, right? So being cooped up in the house in this pandemic in the winter or the late winter, early spring here, coming from there to what we're looking at now, I'm pumped. My wife Emily is really excited. I thought when Foster told me that, all right, well, what about the West Coast racers? We're gonna maybe you should think about sleep on it and do something. You should do something out there. First thing I said was, I'm all in. I like it, but I hope Emily doesn't divorce me because I'm going to be working like crazy. And no, I called her up. She goes, "Let's do it, baby." Those were her exact words. And we're excited, man. All of us, the whole Fling crew. And thank you for the tracks and all our great employees and the racers, sponsors.
Well, thank you. Definitely great news, guys. So happy that we were able to get the information from you, get the dates scheduled so the racers can start planning. And obviously, just like anybody else, I love getting to the races. I love watching the races. I can't wait to see these races unfold. So I'm glad to see that they were rescheduled. Peter, Kyle, as always, it's a pleasure to work with you guys. I know the racers appreciate what you do, but even more so, I know you guys appreciate the racers and your customers even more. So thank you so much for spending the time with us here tonight, guys. We certainly look forward to what's coming up very, very soon in September. And then again, when we get that final date for Vegas.
Appreciate it, Nate. We'll see you soon, bud.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
So our Fall Fling has been rescheduled and moved. It's going to happen at Galat Motorsports Park, September 22nd to the 26th. There'll be a 400 entry cap, pre-entries only for this event.
We are super excited to bring the Spring Fling Million over to Bristol Dragway this year. No pre-entries. You can pay at the gate. It's going to be a great time. My friends on the West Coast, we still have a big event coming to Las Vegas in October. This event features two $10,000 to win races, along with a $50,000 race and a special $100,000 to win shootout.
Pete and Kyle, the whole Fling staff does just such a great job. They run things here on point.
just come one time and see how it is, and I think you'll come back.